So in the last video we got the body and the top pretty much ready to carve. So that's today's job. To carve it, or to do the bulk of the work, I've got my angle grinder, which is fitted with essentially a big spinning rasp. It's got teeth all over it and it eats wood. So let's get going. Dust mask, very important on this one. So that's very roughly the shape we're going for. I've now got to do a lot of sanding. There's one or two bits where the grinder got a bit carried away, but I did leave this slightly thicker than I needed because I knew that that would happen. Always give yourself a bit more to play with because it's a lot easier to take wood off than it is to put wood back. It's going to be nice. Where did I put my angle grinder? There. That was easy. The top carve's mostly done. I'm just waiting on some slightly coarser sanding discs so I can finalise the shape. But I need to carve the back as well, so I may as well get on with that. Dust mask. Important. I've roughly carved the body with the angle grinder. I've followed the contours of the top just to keep it in the similar shape. It's obviously not quite as deep, and here where the neck plane would be on the top, it's not following the same shape at all. Now I need to smooth it all out and do lots of sanding. One of these days I'm actually going to count how many hours I put into a guitar and then figure out how many of those hours I spent sanding, and then probably cry. Hate sanding. So I've already done quite a lot of sanding. I got it nice and smooth and even, and then I had a proper look and I realised that I hadn't gone quite deep enough over this side. This bulged out a little bit too much, there wasn't any recurve going on, and I hadn't gone quite deep enough around the edges. So I got the angle grinder back out and I undid all my hard work. But on the upside, my extra coarse sanding discs arrived, so hopefully I can get this done a bit quicker. I decided to get some music set up in the workshop, and since the Crimson Guitars videos are just secret marketing ploys, I've had a set of IsoTunes headphones stashed to one side for a while. Actually, it's my second pair. I've been using them at work so I don't have to listen to people for quite a while. Really good. So I've connected these up to my music source so I don't have to worry about copyright when I'm recording things. It's great. So, let's do some sanding. I think we need something loud. Alexa, give me some Motley Crue. Okay. So all of that carving and shaping and sanding is now redone. It's not fine sanded. It's still a tiny little bit to work on, but it's even. What I now need to do is carve out some of the inside, because that's a really deep carve and I'd quite like a little bit of extra airspace inside, plus I can lose a bit of weight. So I need to attach my template again, and come up with some interesting router setup. I think we can make this work. Well, to do this, I've created a jig that this part clamps to the drill press, and we've got a rounded pin here that's set solid at a set height, and initially I'll use a drill to drill out the majority of the material in here to the right depth, keeping a minimum of 1/4 of an inch. And then what I'll do is I'll put a bearing on this bull nose router bit. I'll put this in the drill, turn up the speed as much as possible. Obviously it's not ideal, a drill press doesn't have the stability for the lateral forces that a router does. If you take tiny amounts off at a time, you can just about get away with it, but it's not for the faint-hearted. So I won't be listening to music at that, I'll be listening to every little squeal of the machine and the wood and breaking it the whole way through. But it's going to work. It'll work. It always works. That's the top roughly hollowed out on the drill press, and my underwear changed. It's, as I said, it's not necessarily the best way to do it, but it's the only way I've got at the moment, and it is terrifying. I just need to tidy up the edges of this and sand it so it's nice and smooth. More sanding. Carved out most of the inside of the top, but using the jig that I made has left a few dents and slightly burnished the top out, which most of it will sand out, but a couple of the dents are slightly deeper in the softer parts of the grain. So I'm going to attempt to use a tea towel that I've run under the tap and wrung it out so it's somewhere between moist and damp on the important sogginess scale, and a heat gun. So hopefully that should lift the grain back up slightly and just make them a bit less effort to sand out afterwards.